What's up, guys? I want to do a couple cars here to show you a technique for doing quick customs. It's basically when you get an idea for a car and you just want to throw it together sort of like a mock-up. A lot of times you can look at cars and think that there's something you can do with this. So they came out with a SpongeBob SquarePants car. It was pretty cool. It had the a neat little body, a little too cartoony, but it had a pretty cool engine. And then the other thing that it had was a grill. It's kind of crafty, and if you look, you can remember this. But Pixar actually has, or Mattel made the Cars car for Lizzie, which is the T-Bucket. Believe it or not, it's actually the same scale, 1/64th, and I was able to hack the front hood off of Lizzie, do some minor cuts to the rear, and basically use the SpongeBob SquarePants chassis with the body, and you can see the inset for the eyes and stuff. So I have the roof, but what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up routing out all that interior metal stuff here, and take out our eyes here, and put in an interior and actually put windows in. It's going to be pretty tedious just grinding that metal down around the windows. And I'm also going to be getting rid of the SpongeBob grill, and if I do get rid of it, I'll probably get rid of it to one of my subscribers who might find a use for it. But this is the grill from Lizzie that I'm going to incorporate. So it's basically just going to be the body. Minor adjustments to the chassis, and this is just rough. I did cut the excess away from the mufflers to kind of give it that clearance between the body. And then the other thing is I found a nice set of gray Real Rider tires to kind of give it that rat rod look. So it's just a really quick custom. The second one is I had an idea. You've all seen Track T, the little tiny car here. This is one of them. It's a pretty cool casting, thin tires. It's a Model T body with the I guess the boot, the little trunk rear end, and it's always a good casting. They also made a classic T or T-Bucket, and everyone will tell you it looked kind of out of proportion because that was the engine, and the little engine was kind of out of place. I found out it's actually pretty much to scale because I married the Track T body with the classic T chassis. This is one of those Walmart releases that had the really nice rubber tires. All I did was I got rid of the big bulky engine, and I replaced it with one found on Rigor Mortar. Here is an example of the engine kind of back to back, and it lined up pretty well. There's a little bit of scale issues with the headers overlapping, but that's about it. And like I said, this is a quick custom. Couple things. The interior here is actually from the T-Bucket, and as is the window. Very minor adjustment, and it fits perfectly. Other than that, the body is the same. It's got the same little raised instrument cluster gauge right there on this, and you'll see that it's got the racing grill. I miscalculated, so I need to cut up another body just to get the grill and kind of fill in this gappage here. But beyond that, it's just a quick custom. I threw it together just to make sure that it would work, and it does. So those are two quick customs. If you get an idea for a car, you just want to put it together, that's what you do. Another quick custom that I was working on is the tail dragger limo, and that's the work in progress. Just doing some test fit on some tires. The rear one does roll. You notice I cut off the hood, and I was able to put in a flathead engine from a Salt Flat Racer, so that it's kind of in there in a mock-up. Body's blended, just two doors. I may or may not do this, but I'm thinking about doing a rear axle, so I went ahead and did a cut for the graft, so it's going to be married up with another axle. I don't know how I'm going to manage the trunk, but you'll see it's cut on both sides. It's going to roll, and if you look at the bottom here, JB Weld and careful grinding, I got rid of all the text along the bottom, and that's pretty much the quick customs for the day. So I want to talk to Kevin Creedon, who had a question on how to do the dents using a jeweler's hammer. And that is a technique. If you know what a jeweler's hammer is, it is a just a fine toothed. It's got a narrow head on it, and it's just a cheap hammer you can get at Home Depot. Probably a cheaper one at Walmart. And what you do is on the underside of the car, and I'll use this as an example. On the underside of the car, within the fender well, you get your Dremel tool and you just start grinding in there. Just grind it not all the way through, but close enough to where you make the metal really, really thin. Once you start seeing it come through, you can kind of back off and use some body filler. But then you just take that jeweler's hammer and just start tapping it in different places. It's going to dent the metal in a more natural state. Some people use mini torches. I think that's pretty stupid. And it's pretty dangerous as well. Plus, you end up with this droopy metal effect. That may work with plastic models, but with die-cast it's a little bit harder. And if you really want to get into customizing cars and doing cuts and stuff, I recommend getting like a 5-pack of cars, something you can get from Toys R Us. $20 you get, or $5 you get 20 cars, like from Fastlane. They're poor quality as far as casting and detail, but if you want to marry up door lines, or just do a lot of cuts and grinding, and you just want to practice, that's the route you want to go. That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I've got another one coming to show the projects I'm actually actively working on. Thanks, and have a good one.